Vlad Mokrenko is a UWF graduate who is originally from the country of Ukraine. I recently spoke to him about the invasion of his homeland.
I'm glad that I'm here and that my immediate family is here, meaning pretty much just my wife and my kids. And my mother, it just so happened that she came to visit us in December of this year, and she had her tickets to fly back to Ukraine on February 28th. So obviously this was 4 days after the war started, so she has remained with us for now. But with us having all our family, my father, my wife's mother, and all our grandparents, friends back in Ukraine, it's tough. I mean, my reaction was shock. I probably heard about it earlier than most of the people, even in Ukraine. And I have friends who work in the military prosecutor's office of Ukraine now, and they're in the city of Mykolaiv, in the southern Ukraine that's under siege right now. And he called me. I remember it was probably like 11 p.m. Our time here, or like super early morning for them. And he just told me that the war has started and the Russians are bombing Ukraine from Odessa all the way to Zhytomyr. So, like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I was expecting, we knew that there's Russian army build up and everything, but we all hope that there will be no full-scale war. I mean, I don't think we could have had a better leader for the time, and I don't think anybody can possibly be prepared for something like that. But he, out of all people, I don't think he was prepared at all, and yet he's handling it extremely well. The overwhelming majority of Ukrainian people support him and stand behind his decision. He's defending our country with the rest of the countrymen. He's not abandoning us. He's staying in Kiev. He's the supreme leader of the army, and he's commanding it from there. And as you can see, I mean, I think his actions speak for themselves. Like, as I said, anything that we can get in terms of defensive or offensive weapons or humanitarian aid is awesome. But realistically speaking, the support that we're seeing now is the support that Ukraine needed in 08 and 14 when we lost the Crimea and the Donetsk republics and Luhansk regions to the same Russian invasion, except then it was localized to Crimea and the two regions in the eastern Ukraine. Nonetheless, it was a violation of all international laws. If the response we're seeing right now would be the response back then, I don't think this war would have ever happened. So right now we're winning the war that should have been won in 14, but in terms of the actual full-scale invasion right now, even though we're getting overwhelming support, I mean, from all the European countries and the US, it's still not enough. People are dying. Hitting on the Russian, gas and oil, it's huge for them. So it's definitely is gonna hurt them financially. And I wish that the rest of the countries would do the same. It's a bold move. I mean, to be honest, it's natural that the prices here are gonna go up. But once again, what's the price of freedom? Realistically, I think that, as I said, if Putin steps down from power or is taken down, that's one of the things that could happen that would definitely stop the war. Because if the Russian, I don't believe that the majority of Russian people support it, and they hate, losing their parents, kids, brothers, and fathers in the war, even though the mass media is still saying that their losses are minimum. They're not. Like, if you just watch, the independent news sources or pictures and video reports from the ground in Ukraine, you can see that the losses are vast. They're losing manpower and armored vehicles and tanks, airplanes, helicopters every day. And the hardest part is, I guess, seeing the places that you remember, that you visited and loved, just seeing them being destroyed. It's not something that you would expect would happen in the 21st century in the geographical center of Europe. And then, on the other hand, I understand that this is a fight that we just have to keep fighting, and, all the damage has been done, it can be rebuilt. But what's even harder is just the loss of civilian life over there. Innocent people who did nothing wrong just dying. And having the parents and friends and family over there and stuff, especially considering the differences in time zones. So it's an 8-hour difference. So you're trying to keep in touch, trying to make sure everybody is okay. At least exchange a couple of words every day. Make sure that they're alive. Definitely, it's been tough too. I mean, I think what's happening is any person who follows recent history, the past 30 years of European history, knows what's happening. It's not Ukraine is not the first that Russia has done this to. It's just a series of countries that this has been happening, and it just shows that there's no stopping for this. So if we just let it go, with no continuation, no sanctions, no follow-up, it will continue to happen. For the third time now, there is a conflict based on land and bogus claim of saving the Russian war. So the claim that there are some nationalists or Nazis in Ukraine, or that the Russian people were under some kind of persecution or being hurt or the language reprieved, is just false. It's not true. And anybody who's ever been to Ukraine, they'll tell you the same. There's no such thing. Ukraine was and is an independent and free country. And I just hope that the world can learn from the history that has happened in the past, and that this time we could put an end to this.